The new podcast, In the Shadow of Princeton, starts as the matriarch of a prominent Princeton family is found stabbed to death in her locked basement. Investigators look from a serial attacker to her family to Princeton University students. One hot-blooded investigator sees a conspiracy. Is he way off base, or does privilege let you get away with murder? In the Shadow of Princeton is available wherever you get podcasts, or you can binge it ad-free by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Ryan Reynolds here for
Bite See Details.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Peak Northwest, an outdoors and travel podcast by the Oregonian and Oregon Live, dedicated to the adventure and exploration of our beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm Jamie Hale.
And I'm Vicki Connor. Together, we take you to some of the most beautiful and interesting destinations in our region, discussing where to go, what to do, and places to see. But before we do that, we have to say welcome back to Jamie, who is back from parental leave, and we are so excited to have you back, Jamie.
I'm excited to be back. It was very weird to be a listener to the podcast, but I did listen to all the episodes. Sometimes in very early mornings, while soothing a baby. It was fun, but it's fun to be back now. I'm glad to be here.
How is being a girl dad to Leona?
Leona's great. She's just 2 months now, so she's just like getting into the smiling and the making of sounds. You know, the little like bleh and like so it's great. We hang out and we do that, and then sometimes she cries, and that's fine. It's been really, really nice so far, and obviously we're obsessed with her.
Yes, she is so cute. And I have to ask, has she had any, little baby excursions yet?
A little bit. We went out to Rooster Rock. A friend of ours wanted to do a photo shoot for us when she turned a month old, and so a bunch of us went out to Rooster Rock together. And the idea was to hang out by the water, but the water was so far out, we had to walk many minutes to get to it, which was strange, but beautiful there, of course, obviously. And it was a beautiful photo shoot. But I'm kind of just now thinking, how can I get her out there more? And of course, now it's starting to rain. So it's a bit of a funny time, but I'm taking Fridays off for a few months. Just kind of extend the rest of my parental leave out that way. And I want to do these Friday family outings, places where I can take a stroller, places where we can do the carrier, just get her out little by little and start to build that routine of going out there more. I want to just sort of establish that now, but it is a bit of a difference of what am I packing with me to go out there? And how fast can I go and what kinds of places can I do? It's a totally different experience.
Yeah. I imagine the 10 essentials quadruple with a baby.
They really do. And they include diapers all of a sudden, among other things. So it's very, very strange, but I'm very, very excited to continue to explore that new challenge.
Will she be a backpack hiking baby once at the proper size?
I would love to. I've already got, it's not a super hard frame thing. I haven't tried it out yet, but it's some sort of more intense hiking carrier that a friend of mine picked up for me. And I'm really excited to try it out. She's so small still. So I'm not even thinking too much about it because it's I don't want to get too excited about the idea of it, but it is going to happen at some point. We're going to try it at least. I mean, if she hates it, that's fine. But I'm going to definitely give it a shot.
I can't even begin to imagine some tiny little hiking boots for her.
Little hats.
Yes.
Little pair of sunglasses. Come on.
All right. Well, unfortunately, this week's episode isn't all about Leona, as much as I wish it would be. Today, we're going to go outside and enjoy the crisp air, the crunch of the leaves, and the beautiful colors of fall.
That's right. Once the weather changes, the rains return, and the days get so much shorter, it can be really tempting at that point to hole up inside under a cozy blanket with the hot cup of tea, maybe a baby on your lap. But this is this is actually such a good time to stay outside, because fall means like not only colorful foliage, but also, hey, fewer crowds, also some cool mushrooms sprouting up, some of that green spongy moss, and like moody mist, that thing where like one leaf is like dangling from a spider web and just like twirling in midair, and it looks like it's just like there by magic. You know what I mean? It's that fall forest aesthetic, and this is the time to go out and get it.
This is the time when Oregon truly becomes Oregon. And I feel
Mm.
like it's like an internet joke when people say it's like Twilight season and the Twilight song comes on. So if this is what you're dreaming about, it's here. As we record this, it's like raining, drizzling outside, and we're ready.
How on a scale from 1 to 10, how excited are you about this? Because it doesn't sound psyched.
I do, I do feel like I packed so much in this summer, and I do love the sunshine so much. So I'm not by any means dreading this, but I do have to have a very different mindset going into the season of like, all right, get the raincoat out, expect to be moist and have a runny nose,
Mm-hmm.
and then come back home and enjoy that soup, get
Mm-hmm.
cozy under the blanket.
Exactly. That's exactly. It's a smaller window to go out and do these things. So I think because of that, these like farther flung adventures of summertime, where you might, drive out 2 hours and spend all day outside in the sun. That's not what we have in the fall. You have a small window. So when I think about places to go in the fall, I think about uh, closer to home. And for us, closer to Portland. For a lot of people, closer to this Portland metropolitan area. So today's hikes are all about places that are sort of within that 90-ish minute bubble around Portland. So we've got obviously a lot within that window. You can really drive pretty far, and a lot of really cool places. So what do you say we kind of dive into this and find some cool spots for people to check out?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first one on the list, we're just going to mention it. We don't need to get into it. We've talked about it so much here in the pod. Silver Falls State Park.
Yep. Got to.
Incredible place to go for the fall. The foliage, the waterfalls, the Trail of 10 Falls, the cabins, the backcountry.
Yeah.
Just go.
Got it all.
Just go. We're not going to harp on it. Just go do it.
So many amenities.
Absolutely. Moving on. One of my favorite sort of lower key spots in Portland, within Portland proper, is Tryon Creek State Park. This is like one of the only state parks in Portland. And there's some technicalities there, but that's sort of the only like sort of proper state park in Portland. It's sort of nestled into Southwest Portland over by the Lewis and Clark campus. And it's just like a cute, nice forest. The trickling creeks, the deciduous trees, a bunch of little bridges. There's a really cool nature center with a bunch of like fun activities. There's a gift shop there. Like a great spot for family friendly fall hike, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. I haven't been to this one yet, but a few of my friends really enjoyed trail running here.
There's so many trails to run. Like it's one of those like snaking trail networks where you can really go for a while. And there's like a good bike trail that kind of skirts the edge of it as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
When's the last time you were there?
It was in, believe it or not, 2020, when we were doing a story on places are reopening
Oh.
now. I went to Tryon Creek, and so I have a lot of pictures of like people wearing masks on the trails in
Right.
Tryon Creek, which feels weird to look at now. So I am looking to go back there. I do want to take Leona there because it is like an easy like put her in the carrier, not too long of a hike. So if she freaks out, then we can like book it back.
Yeah.
And just really nice. Good fall vibes. I usually go there in the springtime. Like that's kind of what I know it for.
Mm-hmm.
When the trillium flowers bloom, they have a great trillium area, but I think fall is a great time out there as well.
Amazing. All right. Next up, Forest Park, of course.
Of course. I mean, everyone knows Forest Park. You got to go there. More maple trees, I believe, in Forest Park than any other kind of tree.
Really?
So this is like people think about like it's Portland, it's Northwest, it's like evergreens, and there's a lot of evergreens there, but there are so many big leaf and vine maples in Forest Park that it is a great spot for the fall.
Ugh,
Of course, the question is like, where do you go in Forest Park?
I know.
Vicky, do you have like a go-to Forest Park area
I I
trail?
I do like Leif Erikson.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. That's like typically my go-to. But
Mm-hmm.
aside from Wildwood, I feel like that's the, everyone's going to Wildwood. It's always super crowded with trail runners and dogs. Those are the two that I typically go to. How about you?
I feel like the Lower Maclay hike,
Yeah.
kind of the hike from Lower Maclay Park up to Pittock Mansion, if like visitors are in town and they want like a slice of Forest Park, also in the fall that leads past the Witch's Castle,
Ooh.
very spooky, an old bathroom. And goes up, it's a nice little climb up to Pittock Mansion, incredible views. That's like one of my go-tos. But also there's the Maple Trail, I believe it's just called the Maple Trail, in Forest Park, and that's like a really nice spot too for it's like you can do it sort of an 8.2 mile loop, so you can do it sort of a longer hike. But obviously there's a lot of ways to make that shorter and stuff, but that's like a trail that's known for like maple trees. So if you want that fall foliage,
There you go.
Maple Trail is a good spot to go to.
All right. Moving on. About Warrior Point.
Okay, another one I feel like we've talked about to death in the podcast here. So if folks, if you remember Warrior Point up on Sauvie Island, the northern tip, it's a great hike. You can start at the trailhead it's just past the nude beach. And there's a cool little trailhead. You can walk north along sort of the edge of the island. So it's great river views, a lot of deciduous trees. You get great fall foliage. And at the end, you get a tiny lighthouse and a beach. So what's not to like about a tiny lighthouse framed by like orange leaves next to a beach in the Columbia River? Like, it's perfect.
I feel like Sauvie Island, you could also just make a full fall day out of it,
Oh my gosh.
go to the pumpkin patch, go on this tiny little hike, or not the tiny hike, but a hike to the tiny lighthouse, and have yourself just a full Sauvie day.
Totally. It might be a little chilly for the nude beach for some folks.
Yeah.
But hey, when it's like 60 degrees and rainy, that might be perfect for you. So a lot of great options up there.
All right. I feel like we're hitting some good different areas, around Portland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's head out toward the Gorge. What do we got out there?
I mean, obviously so much in the Gorge, especially once the rains start, the waterfalls start picking up a little bit more. Eagle Creek is a great spot for the fall because it's got you get that kind of moss and the mist kind of rolling in through the canyon, and the waterfalls are still going pretty well. And there's a lot of ways to make that shorter or longer. Like if the rain starts really picking up and you're like, I'm done with this, you can be like, hey, Punch Bowl Falls, a couple miles in, I'm turning around, I'm going back. But if it's nice out, you can hike all the way out to Tunnel Falls. I mean, such a cool waterfall. But that said, one of my go-to spots, I think, for fall is a section of the Columbia River. Let me say this right. A section of the historic Columbia River Highway State Trail. Oh my God, it's a mouthful. That's like that paved bike and walking path that connects to the historic highway. Kind of ideally, you can like bike from Troutdale to the Dalles is the idea, or even from like Portland to the Dalles. But there's sections of this that are off highway, so that it's really nice for walkers or bikers or people in strollers to use as well. And this section, if you go to Starvation Creek, that little pull out there's a bathroom, there's a waterfall, and you take the pathway going back west. There's like several little waterfalls right off that path. And then eventually it goes uphill and to the top of this, I guess it's like an aqueduct. Is that the right phrase for it? And there's some really good views of the gorge from there. So, and a bunch of like deciduous trees too, if you want that fall color. So I love that spot, that Starvation Creek. If you want something easy, paved, good for everyone, that's a good spot to do. So I'm actually trying to get out there this week as well.
On your Friday?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like let's, she loves a stroller. Let's try a paved pathway. That's like not that long.
Yeah.
Just get outside, do something.
Totally. I haven't done this specific section unless it was unknowingly, because I've definitely biked part of this trail with Nick, and while I didn't do it in the fall, I can like imagine just like the canopy of the trees
Mhm.
and just all different colors and stuff. So that sounds super lovely.
Some sections of the state trail that are paved are like they're better than others. This I think is one of the better of them. The other one that's good is the Mosier Twin Tunnels section. Getting to bike through those tunnels is very cool, or walk through those tunnels. But there's like one that I can't remember exactly where it is, but um, I walked it when it first opened, and I was like, "Oh, cool! This will be fun. It's a new one," and it goes just like right alongside the highway, like right next to the freeway,
That wasn't
and
peaceful, Jamie.
it wasn't peaceful. And in fact, it was nerve wracking.
Ugh.
And I could see if you're biking and you're getting through that section to the good stuff, that's great. But like I think I told people in my story about it. I was like, I don't recommend this for like a destination, this spot. So
Right.
not all parts of that trail are created equal, but the spot at Starvation Creek is a good one. It can confirm.
Well, we still have so many hikes in and around Mount Hood too.
Oh my god!
So let's get into it a little bit. Where should we start?
Yeah, I just want to say Mount Hood, a great place for the fall, early fall. If you get there before the snows really get to that lower elevation, like I think we're supposed to get snow in the Cascades at higher elevations like this weekend as we're
Oh,
recording
man.
this. But like if you can get there before the snows get too low, you can do a lot of fun stuff before the rivers get like too full again. So I mean, there's a lot of good options for you there. So one of my first ones, and again, this is sort of early fall, is Ramona Falls.
Yeah.
Vicky, have you done Ramona Falls? You've done that hike, haven't you?
I've done it a couple of times now. It's great.
Yeah. Have you done it in this time of year?
I have not done it in the fall. Typically, it's in the summer.
What was it like for you in the summertime?
Pretty hot, and I remember like there's one major river crossing, and I think both times that I did it, the water was pretty. Even in the summer, it was like flowing. That you are really having to be careful, like crossing over some like a down big tree and using your balance, or else you're getting wet trying to cross that river.
Yeah, that's the one main concern of that hike, right? Is like that river crossing. You kind of want to catch it at its lowest point if you're concerned about it, which a lot of people should be. And the fall, kind of like early fall, is your best chance. Like it's dwindled down to its lowest amount, and before you get those heavy rains and snows back, that's your opportunity. It also happens to be a great spot for like mushroom hunting, and like all of the areas going in. A lot of people, there's like this road going in, and you can kind of see the forest, these mossy forests off to the sides of the road, and people pull off to the side there and go mushroom hunting in there. It's like a really magical little mossy forest there. So the mushrooms popping up, the leaves starting to turn. You can still get a good view of the mountain if it's not too cloudy. And then, you get this great, not a huge waterfall. How would you describe the Ramona Falls waterfall?
Cascading for sure over,
Sure.
But like a great area for just sitting and viewing it. There's that little like footbridge that's right in front of it, and then areas that are higher up where you can just kind of look down at it.
It kind of like fans out over a wall.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like a ponytail shaped plunge like you see a lot in the gorge. It's like just kind of like I imagine its very lowest, it kind of just drips over the wall, but then at its highest, it kind of does more. But a lot of I don't know what it is about it, but a lot of good like rainbow activity there.
Ooh,
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you get a little sunbeam coming in.
Yeah, and if you want to, even though it's probably going to be a little colder now that it's fall, but you can like go and like walk into the water if you wanted to as well.
Oh, that sounds so nice on a hot day and so terrible on a cold
I
day.
know. Yeah, but Ramona Falls is great, and plus you can do it. The trails is like a loop around, which is always nice rather than an out and back. Does get pretty crowded though, I would say.
Oh, sure. I feel like this is, if you do like a fall, especially like a weekday in the fall, I'm weekdays forever, but like the fall, you're going to see most likely fewer people at all these places. save maybe Silver Falls. So that's another little reason why this is maybe a good time to go check it out if you can.
All right, next up, we got the Great Salmon River Trail.
Oh, love the Salmon River
It
Trail. Come on.
is literally the epitome of peaceful hike along the river. So much amazing tree canopy, like huge, tall trees that you're walking under, so mossy, and the river, just like that, the constant noise of the river right next to you, just like you're walking in a dream, basically.
It's like, yeah, if you were to like, draw a picture of Pacific Northwest river forest, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what you draw. The mossy boulders and like, yeah, the big trees and just like all of it. You can keep walking, get some really nice views looking out over the Mountain National Forest.
Yes.
So good. It's definitely one you want to get to before the snow and ice comes. It's not like a winter hike, because there's like some rocky sections you have to start off at, and those can get really dicey when they get icy. Rhyme not intended there, but it's true.
Yes. Yeah. Right from the start. And then it just kind of flattens out from there, which is nice. I haven't done more than probably 7 miles total, kind of doing an out and back. But yeah, you can keep on going if you wanted to. Otherwise, just walk along that river for a little bit, sit by it. In the summertime, there's plenty of campsites. So, again, small window if you wanted to do some fall camping there.
But a bit chilly and maybe a bit moist, but beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful though. Last hike we have on our list, the Lawrence Lake High Ridge Trail. Vicky, what can you tell us about that one?
I just did this past weekend, and wow, there was some great fall foliage here. Lots of reds and yellows, and essentially Lawrence Lake is, I believe, kind of like a reservoir. Have you been here yet, Jamie?
I've not. No, this is on looks like the north side of Mount Hood.
Yeah, so you drive through the Fruit Loop, which again, if you want a full fall experience, stop at the Fruit Loop, you get some cider, and then you go on, do this hike. So this past weekend, it was particularly warm. So there were people paddleboarding in Lawrence Lake. So you kind of walk along this paved area along the lake, and then from there you go up to look down on Lawrence Lake. There's a bunch of switchbacks. In total, this is a just about 7-mile hike, maybe a little bit under. And although there's some elevation with doing those switchbacks, I think it's like 1,100 feet total. So not too shabby. Brought my dogs, and really enjoyed the fall foliage. Kind of like, for me, a last little burner of a hike. And once you get to the top, you have this incredible view of Mount Hood and Lawrence Lake once more.
Incredible. It looks like such a good view of Mount Hood.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And looks like there's a campground there at Lawrence Lake, but it appears to be closed by early October. But if you get a look at it and say, man, I'd love to camp here and get this view at sunset or something, opens again in May. So make your reservations.
Yes.
Vicky, any other fall hiking spots that come to mind? We could do a little lightning round here.
Once we start getting into fall and we're talking about going and finding mushrooms, now you got me thinking about going out to the coast, going up closer to Astoria, where we've done an episode about mushroom hunting in the fall. That's what immediately comes to mind. And taking advantage of, all the state park cabins now that we're getting into cozy season.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. A cozy cabin in the fall. Come on. Bring all your blankets and bring your tea kettle. I love that idea. So many good spots on the coast. Fort Stevens State Park, Sitka Sedge State Park for sort of a more low key spot. Any of those sort of like coastal dune forest places, especially on the North Coast. So good. On the way to the coast, the Wilson River Trail, you should note, another really good place. That's that super long. It's like 20 some odd miles long, the trail. But there's like 6 trailheads kind of evenly dispersed throughout. So a lot of places to go in and, start a small day hike. I especially love the section at Kings Mountain. You can sort of park at the Kings Mountain trailhead and everyone just goes straight up to Kings Mountain, but instead you turn left on the Wilson River Trail. And there's this really quiet, beautiful section of trail with some incredible, peaceful views of this like misty Coast Range forest. Can't recommend that enough.
Oh, I've been meaning to get out to that one. At what point does that one start getting snowy, icy?
I mean, I think pretty deep into the winter. It's the Coast Range is not nearly as high as like the top of the Cascades. I think the bigger issue with a lot of those is it gets like really muddy. So like Kings Mountain, that hike itself is so steep that like once the rains really start in earnest, I tell people stay away from Kings Mountain, Elks Mountain. That's way, way, way too steep. But the Wilson River Trail, as long as you've got some good, waterproof hiking boots on, you can do that in the mud for a little bit. That's no problem. Just once it snows in the Coast Range, you want to be careful of that.
Oh, gosh. Even though the sun is going away, I'm still so excited for these hikes. I feel like my whole summer was so locked in with triathlon training and like it had me when I was on my bike at home, like indoors, just training. I was just daydreaming of getting out on the trails. And I want to take advantage of that now that I have so much more free time. Even if it's moist and rainy, I'm going to get out there. And I think the Wilson River Trail will probably be close to the top of my list.
I love that. I do want to hear all about your Wilson River Trail adventures. God, it's just such a beautiful spot. I'm trying to circle on my calendar every Friday now, like where are we going outside? As long as Sadie and Leona continue to enjoy their rain. Oxbow and the Gorge and Mount Hood and Tryon Creek, all these places. I mean, wherever there's like a forest near you, just go to that place. Also, I mean, it's such a good time just to get outside, breathe in that fresh, crisp air, and enjoy it while you can. Well, folks, that will do it for us for today. Until next time, you can watch our videos on the Oregonians YouTube channel and view all of our travel and outdoors coverage on OregonLive.com/travel, as well as HereIsOregon.com.
Please leave us a rating or review if you enjoy the show. And if you want to support this podcast, as well as our local journalism, please consider a subscription to Oregon Live. You can find details at OregonLive.com/pod support. Also, if you're a fan of the show and you're interested in potentially sponsoring it, you can get in touch with our marketing people at advertise@oregonian.com. This episode of the show was produced by me, Vicki Connor, alongside Jamie Hale.
Stay safe and happy travels, everyone. Until next time, we leave you with this 10 seconds of Zen.